Welcome to the Black Sparrow Media Internet Broadcast Network.
You are listening to Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a podcast about Linux, open source, and amateur radio, for everyone. Now here are your hosts, Cheryl, W5MOO, Russ, K5TUX, and Bill, NE4RD.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 592 of Linux in the Ham Shack, the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet. Thanks very much for joining us here tonight for our Short Topics episode. We're glad you're with us, whether you're listening live or after the fact. And before we jump into our short topics for the evening, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves for the on assignment Cheryl, W5MOO. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
Alrighty then. So we have some topics. It took a mighty load of digging to find anything to talk about. The second story that Bill put in, I saw that one and I was like, yeah, but here it is because there's nothing else.
It was open source, so I was like, might as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, I mean, I think we've said rather often these days that there's just not a lot, particularly in the realm of amateur radio, to put in as stories. I know, like AR Newline and ICQ podcast and some of the other, venues out there, they talk about things, but more and more they seem to be sort of tangential to ham radio than actually ham radio related. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but we still have things to talk about.
Yeah, we could just talk about product launches, right? Seems like where we're going.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where it's at right now. It's the only thing anybody's talking about. And the one I threw in there, sort of last minute is one that's been out for like a year now, but whatever. People are actually talking about it right now, and it's showing up on some other podcasts, and there's YouTube videos and whatnot. So I guess we should mention it too, in case we're the only way that people get amateur radio news, which seems unlikely.
Hopefully not. We would be a bad source for that.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to walk down through these topics, and we'll talk about some stuff. And then I threw in a couple of last minute things, which should take 30 seconds each. But here we go. So our first amateur radio, again, tangential topic for the evening, comes to us from NOAA, who is decommissioning the Polar Orbiting Operational Environmental Satellite Constellation. Well, it has been doing for some time, but now it's officially gone. That constellation, known as POES, P-O-E-S, has played an extremely important role in monitoring the planet's weather and environment since it launched back in 1978. After more than 4 decades of continuous service, NOAA has retired the last 2 remaining satellites in its longest operating Earth-observing constellation. It continues the mission of collecting weather observations from low Earth orbit through its next-generation satellite system, the Joint Polar Satellite System, the JPSS. Each POES satellite was originally designed to last for 5 years. Obviously, they've outlasted that 5-year prediction. The satellites also carried instruments that supported the International Search and Rescue Satellite-Aided Tracking System, or SARSAT, since 1982. POES satellites benefited global commerce, agriculture, shipping, aviation, and energy production by providing timely, reliable weather data, especially in remote parts of the world where they were often the only near real-time sources available. The mission contributed to the development of long-term environmental records that aid research in the changing of global weather patterns, allowing scientists to track patterns such as ocean heat waves and ozone depletion. Fake news! I'm just... whatever. Additionally, as part of its broader commitment to the international cooperation, NOAA has partnered with the European Organization for the Exploitation of Meteorological Satellites, EUMETSAT, since 1998 to share each other's satellite-based weather observations and build a larger global observing system. Like many older satellites, the POES satellites do not have thrusters to support a controlled reentry into Earth's atmosphere at the end of their mission life. Instead, once passivated, they are safely powered down, placed in a non-operational state, and left in a stable orbit. Without onboard propulsion or significant atmospheric drag at their current altitude, NOAA estimates they will remain in orbit for roughly 150 years before gradually re-entering the atmosphere and disintegrating, and probably hitting a scorched Earth by then. So,
Nothing to worry about. Move along.
Yeah. So this is tangential to amateur radio in the sense that the telemetry data and stuff for these satellites was available, and all the historical data is available, and apparently you could get downlink data from it via amateur radio, or using technology that amateur radio enthusiasts employ. So as with all satellites, they broadcast data. So some people gathered said data. And there is a website out there that has all the historical info. So anyway, a long used system now gone, 1978. So yeah, 47 years? Yeah, long time.
Yeah, it's an amazing amount of time for the aircraft to be up in space. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that's the first story, and Bill has the second one.
Yeah, the second one is the second production run of the IP400 sells out. I always want to say amateur. Alberta Digital Radio Communications Society announced on August 18th that the society is pleased to announce that the second production of the 50 IP400 mini nodes has been delivered and sold out. Shipping will commence this week throughout our relationship for fulfillment services with Praebius Communications, Inc., whatever that is. Further work is ongoing to find additional suppliers and reduce the lead time. And for those of you that are not familiar with the IP400, the IP400 project, the goal of the IP400 network project is to develop a next-generation data communication systems by amateur radio for amateur radio. Features include higher speeds, the mini 100 kilobits per second, robust modulation and forward error correction, the ability to transport widely varying data types from short text messages through digital voice and video, including AX25 and TCP/IP. The IP400 is in very active development by the Society, and this project is licensed under the GNU GPL version 3. And I believe the device that they have coming out right now is the mini nodes, and the mini nodes are basically comprised of like a 400 megahertz transmitting board, hence the IP400, and a Pi 0, I believe. So a little combo mini node all together, ready to go.
All right, very cool. Nice little bit of kit there. Do you happen to know from the story what those things run?
I did not see a price tag on them, no.
All right. Well, I did not see a price tag on the next story either, though I know it is definitely 4 digits because the earlier model was 4 digits, and this is a more compact version of it, so it can only be more. But this is the Lab599 TX500MP portable radio. It's an ultra-portable multi-band HF radio now available. It's actually been available for a little while now, but people are starting to talk about it. So it's an update to the original TX500. That's the one that runs, I think it was about $1,200 where I saw it. The new model features a chassis milled from aviation-grade aluminum and is designed for field use, off-grid, and emergency communication, as well as portable activations. The radio includes a built-in automatic antenna tuner, and this thing is pretty small. I think it's rivaling like the Elecrafts for size. So that's pretty impressive, actually, that it has a tuner built in and that it's HF50. So the radio includes, it maintains the previous model's low power consumption in receive mode. Its display is a high contrast monochrome display, and the design consolidates all the connectors. There used to be a bunch of connectors on both ends of the original one. Now they're only on the top, and there's only 3 of them, I think. So simplified. And all of the controls have been moved to front panel configuration, so ease of use there as well. It operates at up to 10 watts output and is marketed toward operators engaged in activities such as POTA and STA. So I guess they're trying to make a run at the people who like the small ICOM, small Yaesus, Elecrafts, so on and so forth. Not cheap, but they do look interesting. They do, you can use like a whip antenna. And, of course, they are also, I can't remember if it was like BNC or F-type or whatever was on the top of the radio.
I think they had BNCs, yeah. Yeah. I remember when I first saw this come out, which was, quite a while ago. I think the original TX500 has been around for at least as long as the KX3 has been around. So it predates a lot of the IC705 and whatnot, those new fancier all digital panels and stuff like that. So it's a cool project. I think it started in the UK originally, and then it was obviously made or reproduced by somebody that could make a bunch of them, probably from China.
More than likely. I did watch one of the videos on it, one of the ones that I've cited in the show notes, and they did say that the power was kind of interesting because it will run off USB-C, so you can run it off like a portable USB-C battery pack, but it can also run off voltages as high as 50 volts, which means you can plug in, direct attached solar panels and stuff like that. So there's a lot of flexibility there on the input power, which is kind of nice. And of course, the unit being as small as it is, makes it very portable and very functional. So for people who are interested in this thing, especially people who are climbing some high hills and stuff and don't want a lot of heavy kit, this might be worth taking a look at.
Yeah, definitely another option. I was just looking at the price for that IP400 kit, and it shows that the Pi Zero and the assembled hat is $79.95. They have a remote power kit if you need that for $24.95, and the shipping runs about somewhere between $8 to $15. So there's the information on the IP400 mini node that they're shipping out, or perhaps doing another run of, or what have you. And what does this thing cost? Yeah, $1189.95 for the DX500. Is that the new one, or is that the old one?
I don't know. Your guess is better than mine.
Yeah, I don't see like the MP on the model number, so that's interesting. Well, yeah, there's also another new radio out. There's a new version of the IC7300, the Mark II. So there's all kinds of goodness being released this year. With the that Yaesu rig that came out earlier with the FX1, and now the IC7300 update. It's a good year for radios, I think. Yeah,
and I will say, there's another video I've linked in reference to the TX500MP, because the original unit doesn't have a data port, but another ham has built one. I think it's still a prototype at this point, but they may be available. But it basically snaps onto the top two connectors and creates a USB interface, so you can actually run digital modes off it as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the screenshots here of the unit. I don't know if this is the real unit or the fakey pics. But it looks like it has an N connector on the top.
Okay, that might be N connector. Yeah, I know it wasn't like SO239. It was something you'll likely have to convert.
Need an adapter. Yeah, you'll need an adapter for that. That's interesting choice to use that. But yeah, it definitely looks like an N connector to me, like a UHF connector that you would see on a higher band radio. And then it has those two DINs at the top for one for microphone and one for data. Both look like 8-pin DINs.
And like I said, the adapter for the USB connectivity snaps onto those two DIN connectors and creates a USB out, so you can run digital if you want.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Neat.
Yeah.
And that's a vertical format rig now, too. That's interesting. Yeah. Cool. Good year for radios.
No good news at all, but radios, releases, things like that. Those are
new
out
toys. There. New toys. Lots of new toys.
New toys for us appliance operators. All right. I guess that means we're moving into open source, although I see a comment just popped up. Always good to have competition, but definitely not a CW rig, says Steve. Yep. I mean, you could make it one, though, surely. I mean, it probably doesn't have an internal keyer, but you could, not the nice QSK that Elecraft does. All right. Just live with your Elecrafts. That's fine. You don't have to buy one.
Well, I have the KX1, and I've had guys that say, don't bring that onto a summit when more than one person is summiting at the same time and doing summits on the air, because apparently the KX1's a little bit noisy. It's a little bit of a clicking that you can hear in the other radios. They're slightly more clean.
Well, they have later versions, so
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that means we're moving into open source, and I'll let you, I guess, since I did the last one, you can handle this one.
Sure. Yeah. I saw this in the news as well. This is the Arch Linux takes a pounding as a denial of service, directed denial of service attacks. Is that what DDoS is? Enters week 2. Some joyless ne'er-do-well has loosed a bot a botnet on the community-driven Arch Linux distro with a distributed denial of service attack now in its second week of sustained disruption. Arch maintainer Christian Huzel, sir, wrote an announcement on the project's website, quote, "We are aware of the problems that this creates for our end users and will continue to actively work with our hosting provider to mitigate the attack. We are also evaluating DDoS protection providers while carefully considering factors including cost, security, and ethical standards," end quote. The attack comes as the project has been enjoying a boost in its mainstream success. The distro was picked by Valve to underpin the Steam OS software running its Steam Deck handheld gaming gadget, with the company providing the project with funding for further development. The motive behind the attack is unknown, but the Arch team is working to mitigate the attack's impact, which highlights the bootstrapping issue. Tools designed to shift traffic to mirrors in an event of a main infrastructure is unavailable to rely on a mirror. List obtained. Sorry, I'm losing that sentence. Let me start over that. Tools designed to shift traffic to mirrors in the event of main infrastructure is unavailable. Rely on a mirror list obtained from that same main infrastructure. With Huzel, I can't pronounce the name, advising that users should, quote, default to the mirrors listed in the Pacman mirror list package, end quote, if tools like Reflector fail. For times when the attack takes the Arch user repository offline, the process of installing or updating a package is a little bit more manual, pulling directly from the AUR Git repo. And this story came to us from The Register, and they have a status page too. What does it say right now? Oh, I have to accept cookies. Oh my God. Apparently the website is still down. AUR is considered operational right now, so maybe things are going to slowly improve.
Well, I'm sure they'll get it figured out eventually. I've been able to update my Arch systems here locally without issue with packages from the AUR over the last couple of days. So obviously things are improving, if they are not obviously better. And of course, the website is still the apparently major focus of the attack at the moment. So
apparently, yeah.
But all right. So yeah, Arch, they had a rat. Now they have a DDoS. I mean, not a good time to be an Arch fan right now.
Well, that's what happens when you start getting to be more mainstream and they got so many gadgets using it. So it's actually a good sign because now they're a big target.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm using more and more every day. So hopefully they get this worked out. The next one we have is Debian 13. Trixie has been released. The Debian project has released its latest stable version, number 13, codename Trixie, which will be supported through 2030. This release includes GNOME 48, KDE Plasma 6.3, XFCE 4.2, Linux 6.12, GCC 14.2, Python 3.13, and Systemd 257. It contains over 14,000 new packages for a total count of almost 70,000 packages, while over 8,800 packages have been removed as obsolete. 44,326 packages were updated in this release. The overall disk usage for Trixie is about 400 gigs. Yay.
Wow.
I mean, that's obviously the repo, not like what's going to show up on your system. It's not as bad as all that. So, but anyway, yeah, a lot of data up there. It's made up of 1.4 billion lines of code. Craziness. With this broad selection of packages and its traditional wide architecture support, Debian once again stays true to its goal of being, quote, the universal operating system, unquote. It is suitable for many different use cases, as we've outlined many times over the years on the show, from desktop systems to netbooks, from development servers to cluster systems, and for database, web, and storage servers. At the same time, additional quality assurance efforts like automatic installation and upgrade tests for all packages in Debian's archive ensure that Trixie fulfills the high expectations that users have of a stable Debian release. Trixie adds RISC v64 as an officially supported architecture and drops, say it with me now, i386 as a regular architecture. Users with i386 systems need to upgrade, quite frankly, should not update to Trixie. The project recommends reinstalling them as AMD 64 or retiring the hardware. See the release notes and issues to be aware of before installing or upgrading to Trixie. And this came from LWN, actually. I don't look at LWN that much anymore, but I needed stuff, so there you go.
I don't know if they can keep including the word netbook in there, because aren't most netbooks still i386?
Yeah, if you're talking about like the old ones that we used to. It's funny, the booth at Hamvention, like in the early days, many moons ago, when we were originally setting up and just using monitors and computers on the back end, we were using little Asus EEE PCs to power those. But they ran Debian, so hey.
Well, not anymore.
Pretty sure they're all e-waste at this point. But yeah. All right, and you have a new release of a distro that we've talked about a few times on the show that's also come out along with Trixie. So what's that?
Well, yeah. So this is Sparky Linux 8.0 released Seven Sisters. So Sparky Linux, the Seven Sisters, is based upon the fully compatible with Debian 13.0 Trixie. So they quickly upgraded and was ready for this. And here it is. It's a Sparky 8 codename, the Seven Sisters, or Pleiades in the Messier catalog, M45 or Messier 45. Other names, Babes, Chickens, Church of the Masonic. It's the most famous open cluster in the sky. Its popularity is primarily due to the ability to be easily observed with the naked eye. It is located in the constellation Taurus, approximately 444 light years, or 136 parsecs away. So if you ever want to know where the Seven Sisters name comes from, there you go. It's a stellar star system.
Well, I think
main change.
You need to mention the thing about Star Wars. Remember that gaffe in Star Wars, the original one, where Han Solo says he could do the Kessel Run in 9 parsecs or whatever it was.
Yeah,
whatever the actual line is, where he was using parsec as a measure of time instead of
day. Oh yeah, instead of miles or whatever, distance. Yeah, that's funny.
So,
well, it was, it's a new word. Yeah, parsecs. Anyway, so the main changes that come along with Sparky Linux 8, much like Trixie, is that the packages are all updated as of the Debian and Sparky repositories as of August 13th. The kernel is running 6.12.41 LTS, so follows right along with Trixie. LibreOffice is on there at 25.2.3. KDE Plasma is at 6.3.6. LXQt 2.1.0, Mate 1.26, and XFCE 4.20, and OpenBox 3.61. So there's all the different desktop environments that they're going to have available for that. Firefox is at 128.13.0 ESR. Thunderbird is the same. Let's see. Added a new package called Sparky Package Tool, the SPT, which helps with package management in a text console. They added GIMP package to all the ISO images. There's a CLI system installer. Sparky installer now has an option to encrypt the home partition and auto partitioning. It selects the entire disk all in one partitions. Let's see. OpenBox has a PC Man FM has been replaced by Thunar. Sparky APT-US App Center has been updated. Many packages have been removed from the Debian Trixie repo and have also been removed from apt-US. Known issues that still exist in this is the disk encryption during installation using Calamares does not work properly. So there's a problem there if you're interested in that. KDE Plasma, the old KDE Plasma 6 themes from external sources do not work. So if you have your sexy goodness in your KDE Plasma, beware. There's an issue there. Images for Raspberry Pi will be built at a later date, so there's none of those available right now. x86 and i686 ISO images have been abandoned. Packages for the i386 architecture are still available in the Sparky repo. So, hey, they're just going to keep it for a while here. Installation on UEFI machines, or UEFI, requires an active internet connection now. So, there you go. And this all came from the Sparky Linux website. And we might try playing again with Sparky and see what it looks like in the VM soon.
So you mentioned Plasma. We've actually mentioned Plasma a couple of times during the show tonight. You introduced me to the Candy theme like a while back, or the Sweet theme. Sorry, Sweet theme.
Yeah,
which I love and I still use. Are you still using Candy icons?
Yep, I sure am.
I would recommend that if you are, switch to Beauty Line.
Beauty Line. Okay. I will have to look at that.
It's very similar to Candy. It's just more awesome, and it has more icons.
Okay. I will. I'll definitely have to look at this. Interesting.
Yeah, I discovered it the other day, and it's just like it's uber sexy. Yeah.
Uber sexy. I will download and try that out. Yeah, I use that on my Budgie desktop here, running Fedora. So I don't have it on my my Linux Mint one. I haven't even changed the theme from the original theme, except for changing the backdrop, the wallpaper.
Right. Oh, very good. And speaking of that, I just threw a couple of little side notes into the Linux in the Ham Shack section here tonight because we really don't have any Linux in the Ham Shack related stories. So this one thing I've discovered really recently, and it's probably something that I should have known about for a long time, and everybody but me already knows about it. But if somebody else out there is like me and didn't know this, if you're using KDE Plasma, at least in the new versions, I was wondering, because we're talking about themes here and changing themes and using different appearances and stuff like that, I have a whole bunch of AI created artwork that I have created to use as desktop backgrounds, as wallpapers. And so I wanted to, and I've had those set up on my machines for a long time, but I also wanted those to be part of the lock screen and the boot screen instead of the standard wallpapers that are provided by the theme. And I didn't know if there was a way to do that. There's always a way in the sense where you can go into like the display manager and, manually edit the background images. But in KDE Plasma, you can go into the system settings, go to your privacy and security section, and go to the lock screen area. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a display settings button. And if you click that, it does the same thing that is available for your desktop. You can set individual images, slideshows, remote image projection, whatever you want, and it will display them on your lock screen and boot screen as well as your wallpaper, which I thought was cool. So now my computers always show my cool artwork, not the generic, theme stuff.
Cool.
So I thought that might be handy for somebody, because like right now with distributions the way they are, it's like whatever distribution I'm running, I'm just trying to make them look as like incredibly awesome as possible, as 2025 as humanly possible. So that's why I'm using Lab599 and the Candy theme and all that kind of stuff, just because they're awesome. And the last thing I have here is about hams over IP. I saw a thing on the ICQ podcast transcript that said that hams over IP was actively like recruiting people from Ham Shack Hotline because that service is scheduled to shut down in a week, and they want people to get involved in hams over IP. It's the same idea, a VoIP service, hams only, secure, and all of that kind of stuff, and they want people to migrate over to it. I have done that. My Ham Shack Hotline stuff is still up and will be until they, actually shut the servers off. But I've also moved like the live show audio and stuff over there. There's a extension you can dial and listen to Linux in the Ham Shack, and there's an extension you can dial to get into my All-Star node. And of course, there are lots of other All-Star nodes and audio feeds and everything else over there. And one of the people who maintains it is one of our listeners and somebody I've known for a long time, Dave. And I forgot, it's one of those things where as soon as I think of a person, I can't remember his call sign.
Ooh, and I just switched to the beauty line icons. Yes, they are nice.
Well, M7TLB. So Dave does a lot of things. He does the Bugcast, which is an audio podcast for music and stuff. And back when we were actually doing music on this podcast way, way back in the day with the open source sites, that's when I found him, and he's been doing that for a long time, but he's also heavily involved in the Hams Over IP project. And so being that he's a friend, we'll mention him along with the Hams Over IP project. And if you need a VoIP service and an extension and want to set up a little PBX or something like that, or just have a soft phone or even a hard phone to contact other hams, you can do that. And of course, Hams Over IP is linked to a bunch of other stuff too. It's linked to a New Zealand PBX system, an Australian PBX system. It's linked to Freestar, I think, and Amateur Radio. What's the other one? Amateur Wire. It's linked to that as well. So lots of access to hams. And yes, I have an extension over there. So you can call me on the phone. I generally don't answer, but you can call. So it rings right here in my shack. Anyway, that's Hams Over IP. And if you want to get involved with that, or if you're somebody who's coming over from Ham Shack Hotline, check it out. Anything you just popped into your head that might be worth talking about, or should we just move on?
Not that I can think of now.
All right. In that case, we'll get down to the end part of the show here where we have announcements and feedback. We do have one bit of feedback, which is a comment on Blue Sky from KE4HET, who started following us over there. He said, "Nice to find you here," from KE4HET. It was nice to have you subscribe to our Blue Sky feed. So thanks a lot. And then, of course, we always implore you to help support the show if you can over on Patreon, PayPal, buying some merch, subscribing over on YouTube, and all of that good stuff. And if you can't do that, just keep listening. That's the most important thing. Absolutely. And finally, we have our new subscriber supporters and live participants, of which there are very few this time around. We had Fogranax on Discord, T-Sales on Blue Sky, Mark G0NMY on the mailing list. And tonight in the live show with us tonight, we had Mike K6GTE, Steve KJ5T, and very briefly, Don KB2YSI. So that brings us down to the end of the show tonight. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. We will have a weekender for the next episode. I am not sure when that weekender is going to be recorded because I will be out of town next Sunday, but we will make sure there is one, and we will let you know when it gets recorded. And of course, it should show up in your feed whenever it's released. So with that, I guess we will let you get back to whatever it was you were doing before you started listening to the show, or if you're like mowing your lawn or driving somewhere while you're listening to the show. Be safe out there, and we hope we'll see you on the next one. So, for episode number 592 of Linux in the Ham Shack, for the On Assignment Cheryl, W5MOO, I'm Russ, K5TUX.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD73.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a community-sponsored podcast. Live recordings are Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time. Our homepage can be found at lhspodcast.info. You can support the podcast via Patreon at patreon.com/LHS podcast. We're also on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Mastodon. Contact us via email at info@lhspodcast.info or via voicemail at 190954777469. That's 1909 LHS show. We also have merch. So until next we meet, remember to always heed your hedonism.